Hello and welcome back to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. The reason that I am looking very unhinged this evening is we are running a new and very silly thing. Where I, your host, Kittens, will be having some willing victims to play PowerPoint Roulette. So if you've never played PowerPoint Roulette before, the concept is that we have a random list of topics and a random set of PowerPoints. And the participants, participants, do not know which topic they're going to get, and they do not know which PowerPoint they are going to get, so they're going to have to freestyle it on the spot. So we'll see what they do. How they do. So with me, I have the lovely Georgia and we have the lovely Angus, who are going to be the participants tonight. Say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. I regret everything.
Moments as this starts, Angus suddenly starts regretting. Hey, how's we go? Right. So, first up is Georgia. How you feeling today, Georgia? Are you feeling ready?
I feeling like I've just volunteered for the Hunger Games, but oh well.
Oh, the positivity. Right. Well, we shall see how we get on. Let me share my screen so we can find out what our topic is. So, hopefully we can see a literal wheel.
Drum roll, please.
So, we have our topics on here and we will see what we are going to choose. Woo! Okay, so this topic is why the orchestra should never return to Eurovision. Choose your PowerPoint numbers 1 to 4.
2.
Okay.
2. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let me grab PowerPoint number 2. On the topic, why the orchestra should never return to Eurovision. Georgia, here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're up.
Okay, so welcome to this presentation about why the orchestra should never return to Eurovision. My name is Georgia and I will be your speaker today. And we see ourselves here in this library, in this living room, and you have to think, you know what, Eurovision doesn't need an orchestra. Just, it's 2024. We have what am I saying? The music industry has gone through so many waves, from hip hop and rap to modern music now. Even AI is getting involved in music, which it shouldn't, because that is bad. But this presentation is about why the orchestra should not return to Eurovision. So next slide, please. Yeah, this is how I would feel if the orchestra returns to Eurovision. Yeah, it's antiquated. There are so many antiquated things in society, and we have politicians that are trying to bring our societies back to antiquated times. Let's not do that in Eurovision as well. Next slide, please. Milk. Okay.
Yeah, that's milk.
That's milk.
Well, some of you may say that orchestra is essential to Eurovision, like how milk is to cereal, for example. I, as much as people may judge, do not like milk in my cereal. So create, um, be unique, no orchestra, backing tracks, sure. Okay, next slide, please. So here we can see the average computer screen of the average Eurofan during national final season. Totally normal number of tabs to have open. Just imagine what would happen if you had to have orchestras from 8 different national finals all going on at the same time. Think about how unpleasant that experience might be. So this is why tracks as is, no orchestra. Next slide, please. Yes, Eurovision takes place in Europe mostly. There's such a unique, Europe has such a rich music history, all sorts of different styles, and Sweden, for example, is known for its pop. France in Eurovision has its chanson. Orchestras, no. Orchestras, what am I doing? Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. But yes, orchestras. Imagine you're trying to sing this a pop song. Orchestras don't go with pop songs. Sweden wouldn't like it. Next slide, please. Yes, so you can see this is some music notation. I was someone that was in my school orchestra. In fact, you're looking at my sixth form's entire brass section. And anyone who's been in an orchestra knows that rehearsals are long, they're painful, they take forever, and yeah, why apply that to Eurovision when Eurovision is already long enough? Just have your standard electronically mixed track. Next slide, please. Yeah, Marco Mangoni. Sanremo.
You're doing great at
Sanremo.
identifying things.
Thank you. Just trying to think how to. Sanremo notoriously has an orchestra in its during it artists performing. And Sanremo's been around since the 50s. It's 2024. Let's modernize. Next slide, please. Water. Okay.
Maniacal laugh.
The water is plain, and it's orchestras can also be plain. Next, let's leave it at that. Sure. Next slide, please. Yes. We're recording this day after Pride Month. Eurovision, notoriously gay Christmas. What could be more? No. Orchestras can be an antiquated thing, as is homophobia. Let's celebrate the gays by not having an orchestra at Eurovision. I don't know. Next slide, please. This dog agrees with me. This dog thinks that there shouldn't be an orchestra in Eurovision. You can see how you can see that someone said to him that the orchestra should be in Eurovision, and the like disapproving look on the dog's face and its owner's handler as well really shows the like disdain among people participating in Una Voce per San Marino. Next slide, please. Yes, as I have mentioned a couple of times during this presentation, orchestras are typically associated with the past and kind of antiquated traditions. It's 2024, we have mobile phones. Who was it in Romania, I think it was, last year in Selectio Nazionale that just read their lyrics off their phone? Who needs an orchestra when you can just do that? Next slide, please. If orchestras don't return to Eurovision, it'll be a party, and you know what parties have? Balloons. Next slide, please. And yes, this is how you'd react if they said orchestras are coming back to Eurovision. Monica Linkite really showing the shock in her face. Next slide, please. And yeah, umbrellas. Because you can see that the umbrellas are just hanging as if they were in midair, and kind of that's them trying to get away from you can't see this in the photo, but there's an orchestra performing underneath them, and they're all trying to get away from the orchestra. So don't offend the umbrellas. No orchestras in Eurovision. Next slide, please. And yeah, that's if orchestras at Eurovision were at Eurovision, this is the crowd turnout you'd have. It would just be an empty street. It's not, Eurovision doesn't happen outside, but that's what would happen if orchestras returned to Eurovision. Could I have the next slide, please? And that's the end. Thank you for listening. I hope that I have convinced you that orchestras should not be allowed at Eurovision, and thank you.
Hey!
Really some shocking and damning revelations and opinions and takes from you, but honestly, the one thing I will never I can never respect you again. Eating your cereal dry every morning. What?
Hey, it doesn't have to be dry, it just has to be not with milk, Angus. Those are two different things.
Oh, orange juice, much better.
I am
not
thoroughly
judging,
a yogurt person, so...
Okay, yogurt is forgivable.
This is going on some sort of thing, isn't it? Somewhere, some sort of iceberg.
Yep.
The TES opinions on
I don't
what you
even
put
have
on your...
breakfast anyway, so I don't know whether I can.
Oh, well, that was a beautiful, beautiful effort, Georgia. What is your actual opinion on orchestras at Eurovision?
Sure, yeah. I feel like it wouldn't work for most songs, but it might. For some, it might work. So, sure, yeah. Why not?
You're very
indifferent.
Indifferent on it. Well, this must mean it is the turn of Angus to suffer the fate of the wheel.
It is.
Yeah. So
let's see.
So let's see what the wheel serves up Angus. Let's go. So this topic is a little bit of a choice for yourself.
Okay.
This is think of a place and say why that place should never host Eurovision. It can be a place you know quite well. It doesn't have to be a place where you've lived or worked or whatever, but somewhere where you can confidently say this is why Eurovision should never be hosted in that location.
What's going to be the most inflammatory take here?
I love how you have to think of the worst possible. I mean, it's literally
Look, my
my
default would be
answer.
Italy, but that feels like cheating.
And also think of a number 1, 3, or 4.
Well, for the number I can already say, I'll just quote Liverpool's foremost poets, the Wombats, by saying multiples of 3 keep me warm and stable. So let's do that. So number 3.
Number 3. Let's put that in.
I'll give it a think, and just when you start up, I just need to say something. Let's just do it like that. Let's just put me on the spot.
Go for it, Angus.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, everyone else. Thank you for joining me, and today I will be explaining into the minute details why, next slide please, Belgium should never be allowed to host Eurovision, ever. Look, it's simple. We all love to sit around on the sofa, watch the contest, watch everything around it, but have you ever tried Belgian television? Really? Have you? No, you're still alive. You didn't die from boredom. You're still here. So, trust me, it's wild. Next slide, please. Look at Spain. It's another country that has like big linguistical divides and everything. But trust me, I have issues with Spain. I have issues with Benidorm, despite it being a lovely place where I've been. They could do it. Madrid probably could. Some other places. Belgium tried to host one time, and it almost led to like a civil war between the two broadcasters. What are we doing? Belgium, what are we doing? Next slide, please. Yes, look, a lot of people, when they think of Belgium, they think of like chocolate and like waffles, maybe chips, if you know that they're not French. But so we have like this fairly positive and sometimes even like a cuddly view of the Belgians because of like, the Dutch but less rude. But nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. Look, this is a country so desperate to dissolve itself that one of the biggest parties in the Dutch-speaking part is like, we're nationalists, which means we want to join the Netherlands. It's not like we want to be independent from the rest of the country. No, it's like we want to join a different country. If that are your nationalists, how shit of a country are you? And why should we want to go there? Next slide, please. And as I said, like the Belgian culinary stuff, but yeah, look, chips, they're French. Chocolate, the Dutch make it better. Waffles, stroopwafels are much better than Belgian waffles. The rest of their food is also all stolen from Germany or whatever. Look, I'm not getting into the Belgium is fake conspiracy theory. It's true, but we have to pretend it isn't because otherwise, the Belgian deep state will like not let this video be uploaded. So I just have to pretend it's a real country, and they just have nothing on offer. Like all their supermarkets are French, all their food is French and Dutch, and no one knows how to say their town is. Like it's Antwerp, but everyone else is Antwerp. Antwerp. That sounds like a slur. Next slide, please. Yes, just imagine how much more peaceful it would be to have Eurovision hosted anywhere else. Just being able to enjoy the sunset over the beautiful countryside of any country that isn't Belgium. Because honestly, look, this is a lovely flat country that you can really enjoy the sunset there. If you're in Wallonia, it's just hills. It's just hills and forests and smokestacks from the few factories they still have. And meanwhile, in Flanders, it's just the port of Antwerp. It's just, you can't see anything, just lights, just nothing. It's just, you can't even enjoy the sky there anymore. And it's such a shame, because what is more lovely than walking out of a concert or any kind of event and it ends in the evening, and then you just see the sun slowly setting as you leave the venue and you go to your transportation or you go to your hotel. Like that is one of the true joys of like basking in that evening light. Next slide, please. This is exactly what Belgium would be saying the moment they had to figure out who's hosting. Because, again, let me get back to the broadcaster issue. Belgium always switches between two broadcasters. So it would be, for example, the Flemish broadcaster winning, but then the Wallonian one had to host it, technically speaking. This was what the fight was about. Wallonia won, Flanders wanted to host it, and then, like, we can't host it anywhere. They were fighting. And then it was just the Wallonian hosting again, which, of course, scandal. How dare you? If you have to switch every year, you have to keep switching every year. Besides, also, I am now a huge mess. Any Wallonian internal selection, aka every song they've ever sent in, vice versa. Look, we love Gustav. All the praise to Daddy Gustav, Daddy in a good hat. But that Flemish national final was a disaster of truly, like, proportions that Belgium hadn't seen since the First World War. This is like truly like Battle of the Bulge level nonsense that they had there, and that's we don't need that again. If we want nonsense, we'll just tune into Sanremo whenever Blanco's performing and some roses are flying around, or we just ask what's going on the Late Late Show in Ireland. Like, that's what we have that for. We don't need that at Eurovision itself. Eurovision itself needs to be fairly ordered and organized. Next slide, please. For example, look, any other country just has better international connections. I know, Belgium hosts the European Union. Well, so what? They're technically also seated in Strasbourg. Parts of it are in Luxembourg. Netherlands is much more international. Everyone speaks French as soon as it's Eurovision week because it's 12 points, 9 points everywhere. Look, I take hosting in blooming Rotterdam. I'd take Munich of all places to host it over Belgium, and that's saying something. So just imagine just like a fish in a big pond, just swimming around, and when you try to host that somewhere, you need to have a proper pond where the fish can really bloom. Belgium is not that. The Schelde is like ridiculously polluted, and that's true for the entire country. Like, nitrogen pollution in Belgium, big issue. Next slide, please. Look, I've thrown a lot of facts at you. I've thrown some figures and data at you. So it's important to remind yourself that you can also look up a lot of this, fact check me, but also do your own research and just see that we should not be recognizing Belgium. But I'm not touching on Belgian history, but Belgian history. Even the Dutch are allowed to make fun of it. And again, that is saying something. That truly is saying something. Honestly, do Belgians even have libraries? I've never seen one. I've seen everywhere else I've been to one, but I don't recall seeing one in Belgium. So, that's worrying. That is an issue, and we do need some Eurovision artists to start reading books because there have been some opinions. So we do need it to be held in a city and in a country with libraries so that, we could keep those uninformed opinions at bay. Next slide, please. I think this slide perfectly sums up just everything I've been saying and how you should feel about Belgium potentially winning and hosting Eurovision. Just no's all around. But if they ever win, just give it to a different country. That's even Norway. And look, as people who have watched or listened to this channel will know, I do have a massive hatred of NRK, MGP, and a lot of Norwegian stuff. Yet, honestly, if they held it in Trondheim even, it will be a better show than whatever they could cook up in Ghent. Next slide. Cheese, the best cheese comes from Netherlands, and more important, again, the Netherlands should host it more often. We did a good job in Rotterdam, just saying. Look, I know we all love to make fun of that cheese cringe fest that was the 100 Days to Eurovision dance event, but we were just desperate for any content at that point, and also, as fans, desperate to make fun of shit. We didn't have enough to make fun of at the time. The case for Belgium to host Eurovision is as holy as this cheese. Also, let's give Switzerland a chance. Look, if we give like a weird multilingual country that has like weird stuff going on between its languages and it's sort of trying to ignore one, Switzerland Romansh, Belgium German, let's see what Switzerland cooks up, and how expensive it's going to be, and whether the 5 people that show up will still have any money left in their wallet after the show. Cause, yeah. Next slide, please. I will be standing outside of EBU headquarters in Switzerland if Belgium wins to forbid them from hosting the contest. I would just be standing there with this sign. I'll write something on it. Look, I'll even invite Italian men to help me protest. I'll let them talk. I'll let Italian men talk at my protest. This is how serious I am about this. Next slide, please. And if it's castles you're looking for, the much better castles are in countries like Czechia, Ireland. Why not go to Wales? Wales is fun. And what else is there to do in Cardiff? I love Cardiff, but what else is there to do? Really now. Look, if you want if you want a chateau, you go to France. There's so many better options available to you. So just Belgium, not even once. Next slide, please. I wanted to make a drugs joke, but I will try to behave myself. But yes, look, lovely forest. It's also great if, after the event, you're not too far away from a lovely forest that you can walk around in, explore a bit, just to relax, try to ground yourself. Go to Stuttgart. Go to Finland. Let's do Finland again. Finland's fun. Let's do Finland again. Let's do the Baltics. They have forests. I've heard they're nice. I've never been, but it's on my bucket list. Belgian forests, not so much. They're not great. I'll be simple. They're not great. They're good to cycle around in, but you're not wanting to cycle after your Eurovision event. Your legs and ass are going to be tired already anyway from all the standing around, and then you have to get on a bike and do your thing. We didn't even do that here in Rotterdam. You just took the tram home. Next slide, please. So yes, wherever we are going to drive, it'll be fine. Just drive not to Belgium, because also Belgium, terrible roads. No, genuinely, the moment you cross the border on the motorway, suddenly you cannot talk with each other anymore in the car because the roads are so noisy and partially so bumpy, and the road signs are so confusing. And the worst mistake you can make in your life is going to Brussels Zaventem Airport. And the second worst mistake is flying from Brussels Zaventem Airport. Now, I will admit, Belgium has some decent trains, but you know what all the good trains in Belgium do? They connect to the countries around Belgium. The best trains, and this is even Belgians will agree with me on this, the best trains in the country leave the country because they're run by the Luxembourgers, by the Dutch, by the French, and they actually arrive on time and they actually work. Whereas Belgian trains, they're never on time, and even when on the odd chance they do appear, they just break down halfway through. I've taken the train in Belgium 4 times. 3 out of those 4 times, I had a train that broke down in middle of nowhere. The Belgian train company needs to get a grip. Next slide, please. So what now, you might ask? Especially Belgium has been having a somewhat of an upturn in Eurovision over recent years with a fair amount of qualifications, this year excluding, of course, and just in general, decent results after some terrible years, to say the least. Well, as I said, just do it with someone else. I'm sure Luxembourg would love to host, even if they didn't win. They have some catching up to do with Eurovision, and that's a good way to immediately get all those tourists into that dinky-ass country that we love. Next slide, please. And that concludes my presentation. I hope you understand that the one thing we should never, ever, ever allow is to let Belgium host Eurovision. Thank you so much.
Oh, cracking job, Angus. And I'm assuming you actually agree that Belgium should never host Eurovision.
Oh no, it would be camp. It would be a disaster. I do. The Flemish presenter, the one who also did the Eurosong presenting, he should not be allowed within a mile of any TV camera ever again. But beyond that, it would be a disaster, and that's fun. And I think it would be the kind of disaster that's competent and not the kind of disaster where the sun, which is the main part of your stage, doesn't work kind of disaster.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Angus, and thank you, Georgia, for joining me for PowerPoint Roulette. I'm sure we will be adding some memes into our server later. Thank you very much. We have been That Eurosite. You can find us on every social media going as usual, and there will be more PowerPoint Roulettes. So if you like this, like and subscribe to the channel. We will be prepping our way up for Junior and for Eurovision 2025, and we will be on everything and podcasts and everything, so you won't be able to get rid of us, basically. So we will see you very, very soon. Thank you to Angus, thank you to Georgia. Congratulations on your presentations. I will grade them later. I'm kidding. And we will see you all again very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.